Hey yo, ¿qué pasa? So welcome to the Octagon Jones. This is the Octagon Jones live podcast, I guess. This is a post-show reaction type of show that I might be trying to do. It's called Pound of Flesh, but this is the Octagon Jones podcast live on YouTube. Nobody here, so don't really know how to interact or get started. I've never done a YouTube live before, but I'm gonna send this out on that front. UFC 270, man. Don't really. I just start off by saying it's sad man hours. Brandon Moreno loses in a decision to Divas and Figueiredo in their trilogy. They're going to run it back probably in Mexico, but Francis Ngannou gets the job done over 5 rounds versus Cyril Gane. Completely unexpected performance. I got no issues with that kind of performance from Francis Ngannou. Just shifted the MMA expectations on its head. He's not just a puncher, apparently, because when he decides to grapple, he can definitely hold somebody down. And he didn't have a dangerous ground game, but he had an effective ground game. Hold on. This lighting is just atrocious. There, that's a little better. Sorry about that. I do want to bring up the card though, so we can go through it. UFC 270 results. Well, I guess I could try to go off top while I'm trying to find it. But this is, here we go. It's a whole article. Come on, bro. Where's the MMA fighting one? Shout out MMA fighting. They've got a really good wrap-up graphic that they typically put out. Oh, here we are. Here we are. All right, so crazy night of fights. Everyone said it was only the title fights that made this card good, and that is just completely not the case. This fight card turned out to be chef's kiss. It was really, really impressive stuff. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had 5 big finishes, but we had a lot of really good fights too. So I guess from the top or the bottom, we had Jasmine Edisius defeating Hanson, unanimous decision. Her debut into the UFC. Hanson was fighting up a weight class. I didn't know that until we got into the fight, and I was like, oh man, I knew Kay was small compared to Jasmine, but I didn't realize they were fighting up from Kay's normal weight class, so that threw me for a loop. But Jasmine looked great. She probably made a lot of fans tonight. She showed off a fun personality. She had a great interaction with Joe Rogan. After the fight, she was walking around yelling, fuck yeah, or something like that, which was really good. I think that Jasmine Edisius did earn a lot of fans tonight, and Canada's got a new fun fighter in the UFC. I think she might be Lithuanian or Polish, though. But, yeah. Kay Hanson's a dog, but it wasn't enough to Jasmine Edisius had, her way everywhere the fight went. It was a pretty convincing effort, I'll say. Vanessa Demopoulos got dropped really bad. She said that she woke up on the floor and then armbarred Silvana Gomez Juarez in the first round. Round 1, 225. Crazy type of situation, and it was a wonderful, quick, dynamic round that went both ways. And then next we had Matt Frivola and Genaro Valdez, or Genaro, I guess. I don't think it's Genaro, I don't think it's Genaro, I think it's Genaro. Or Genaro Valdez. Regardless, I don't fucking speak Spanish. People always think I do, though, but I don't. Yeah, he dropped Genaro Valdez like 6 times in the first round. Matt Frivola ended up getting a TKO, 3:15 in the first, but that was a wild couple of minutes. Genaro Valdez got hurt quickly. I thought the fight was over 2 or 3 times, and then he got dropped like 3 or 4 more times. Man. Yeah. Genaro Valdez, I was hype on him. He was, undefeated coming into the UFC, fighting out of Brandon Moreno's gym, training partner, thought it was going to rub off, but, he'll probably be back. It was just a really big spot. Matt Favola was coming back with something to prove. So, yeah. And then Tony Gravely took Simon Oliveira to a unanimous decision. Jack Della Maddalena made quick work of Pete Rodriguez. He beat him up bad in like two minutes, 2.5 minutes, and the fight was over. He didn't like necessarily knock him out. He dropped him pretty bad, and then Pete was just like, oh my god, no. Jack Della had everyone excited, and he definitely delivered. Victor Henry and Ione Barcelos gave us a great fight. A really, really good fight. It was the early bar for fight of the night, I guess. Even though Favola Valdez was a crazy round, and I think those should be decently considered when you're talking about fights of the night or fights of the year. Like if people give us an incredible round, and I'm not saying Favola Shinara Valdez was anything like a fight of the night or fight of the year, because it wasn't, but just the idea persists that it can be an incredible fight and an incredible performance within, just a round or two. Like, it doesn't have to go to the judges' scorecards to be a great fight. It just really doesn't. So that's something that I'm pretty passionate about as far as reflecting on fights. But yeah, Victor Henry and Ione Barcelos turned in something, pretty exciting. It was a wild back and forth fight. Victor Henry's a road dog coming in, after fighting in Japan for a long time. And Ione Barcelos is a tough first fight in the UFC, really tough. And he won a unanimous decision over him. Victor Henry looked great out there. He looked like a dog for real, and he just kept going and going. The pace he put on him was... Michael Morales defeated Trevin Giles in the first round after getting hurt pretty bad off Trevin. Trevin moved down from middleweight to welterweight. He stunned Michael Morales, and then... sorry, I got a text. I'm kind of distracted. But... yeah, Michael Morales got a huge knockout at the area. I guess it's a TKO. Trevin Giles didn't know where the hell he was for a second, though. Michael Morales, 22-year-old, 13-0. I almost want to call him a super prospect. He's definitely messy, though. Like, he likes to get into these brawls, and, people don't like to be like, that guy's the next guy when he brawls. But before the fights and the card, as soon as I saw Michael Morales, I remember seeing him on Contenders, but this fight week, I was like, man, I really feel something coming off of this kid. I think that he's got a great name for, an athlete in general, and I know that sounds stupid, but when you're talking about branding and star making and stuff like that, every little thing counts, so someone's name definitely counts. Michael Morales, you got alliteration, a name that everyone can say. He's got a look, he's 22, he's young, he's athletic as hell, he's got potential and skills and hard hands and a mean demeanor, and he fought back from adversity in this fight and knocked out Trevin Giles, who's pretty tough, man, especially coming down a weight class. I was really, really impressed. I said that before I was like, Michael Morales has the makings of becoming a star, and I still, that's definitely a little early, because I would like to see much more from him. I haven't gone back and watched his whole pre-UFC career or whatnot, but I've seen a little bit due to my research and the highlights and the Contender Series experience, and the kid looks like he could be the future. I'm not saying he definitively is, but he definitely has the makings to make a really big impact in the UFC. I think I'm actually not going to guess where I forget, and I don't want to say the wrong place, but Said Nurmagomedov got a huge, quick guillotine over Cody Stamann, which was surprising because Cody Stamann's a effective, strong grappler. But Said Nurmagomedov came out though and spinning shit, and then jumped the guillotine with a quickness and got it like that. I think it's definitely performance of the night worthy. Dana's got to give more bonuses out, man. So many people deserve a bonus on this card. We had, I think, Jasmine Edisius, she probably doesn't get one, but great performance. Vanessa Demopoulos, you'd be hard-pressed to tell me she doesn't deserve a $50,000 check for that. That was crazy. Matt Favola, too. Matt Favola definitely deserves a bonus. Tony Gravely, Simon Oliveira, and Jack Della Maddalena looked incredible, but I don't know, maybe you don't give him one because the guy was late noticing 4-0, but I mean, he looked awesome and had everybody buzzing. you have to, you almost got to give Victor Henry something. Michael Morales, huge knockout. Said Nurmagomedov, like, you got to give that man a bonus. Then, probably the fight, it's so tough calling a fight of the night because there were a lot of good fights tonight. I'd say it's between these next two, but Michel Pereira and Andre Fiallo went to a decision where they threw down. Like, it was really beautiful violence, those two. An unfortunate cup check kind of stopped the momentum as far like down the home stretch of that fight. It was they were just getting going to like end the round with a fervor and end the fight in a blaze of glory, and then Michel Pereira gave him a nice big old kick to the cup, and they had to take a break, but then they bounced right back and turned the oven to broil and went to town on each other for the last like 10, 15. It was like a Holloway moment. Like, it wasn't in the center of the cage, but it definitely had that energy. Michel Pereira is an entertainer, and he beat Andre Fiallo, the UFC debutant, but people were expecting big things from Fiallo. So I'm sure that guy will be back, but man, hats off to Michel Pereira and Andre Fiallo. I mean, it was a really, really, really cool fight. But the fight of the night for me definitely has to be Deiveson Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno, but I'm biased. Those are two of my favorite fighters. I don't know. I don't want to talk about the scoring because I am bad at scoring fights live, especially when I'm emotionally invested. I've got some opinions. I think that one, like, just a knockdown doesn't win you a round. First off, I'll just say that plain and simple. I think Brandon Moreno was so active and so busy and found so much success throughout the fight. Deiveson Figueiredo had sorry guys, crazy hair days every day with me, but Deiveson Figueiredo had a few really, really big moments. He hurt Brandon Moreno bad, and he was doing damage to the legs throughout the fight. Like, I can't sit here and say that Deiveson didn't have success, piling on damage to Brandon Moreno. Brandon Moreno was wearing it at the end. I did think Brandon Moreno won, but like I tweeted rather, I need to rewatch that with the intention of scoring, because I was just enthralled, and I'm a big fan of both of them, but I was leaning one way, so of course I probably saw it going that way. But I'm happy for Deiveson Figueiredo. They're probably going to have a fourth fight in Mexico, which would be really, really cool. Brandon Moreno gave us one of the all-time walkouts tonight, though. One of the best fights I've ever watched live. Like, I really, really, really loved that fight. I thought that it was spectacular violence. That word specifically because it was such a spectacle. I think that flyweight is the pinnacle of MMA ability. Like, maybe not ability, maybe technicality, maybe skill and dynamism. I think that the crispness with which they throw their shots and the ability for amazing scrambles and everything like that makes flyweight just a blast to watch. And I can't believe they ever thought of getting rid of the division. They just needed to give it time to develop, and boy, has it developed. Henry Cecudo, the former flyweight champ, was in Deiveson Figueiredo's corner for this victory over his former teammate, Brandon Moreno, who he wanted to coach on The Ultimate Fighter. This shit gets messy. That's why they're doing a fourth one. Not because of Henry Cecudo, but because it's messy. I think that someone on Twitter put it very beautifully. They were made for each other, and I totally agree. I mean, what a fight. Deiveson Figueiredo recaptures flyweight gold at the cost of Brandon Moreno, and now they're probably going to have to do it for a fourth time in Mexico because the first one was a draw. So maybe they'll have to do it 5 times. Could you imagine? I mean, I don't really think that's how it would work since the first one was a draw. I think it would go to 4, and that's big. But I'm not a math guy. Thank you, Deiveson Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno. That was just absolutely lovely, and I couldn't have enjoyed it more. My heart was about to leap out of my chest. And then finally, Francis Ngannou gives us the most unexpected victory that I think you could have conjured. First off, I want to say I have absolutely no problem with the way that Francis won. Cyril Gane is extremely technical, and his ability on the feet and in space, and when he's manipulating movement and speed and distance, I think that Cyril Gane would have eventually gotten the best of Francis Ngannou on the feet. Of course, Francis could have gotten him at any time with a shot, but I think eventually if it would have stayed on the feet, Cyril Gane might have tuned him up, or might have gotten into, I think he would have found a rhythm, but Francis Ngannou completely imposed his will. He got a real highlight throw. He picked up Cyril Gane and slammed him into the mat. It was a sight to see. He probably got 4 or 5 takedowns in this fight. Maybe it was 3 or 4, but it was definitely 3 or more. It was a little, it wasn't boring, and it wasn't underwhelming. It was just unexpected, really unexpected. But then Francis Ngannou came in with the knee pads on and whatnot. So, I mean, that's what the commentators said at the beginning. They were like, man, maybe he's planning to wrestle Cyril Gane, and that he did. Cyril Gane was, I don't want to say exposed, but I don't know if every heavyweight could do that to Cyril Gane, because Francis Ngannou's power and physicality is so spectacular. But I do think that Cyril Gane looks more fallible than he did, yesterday. What's that quote from Game of Thrones? Oh, never mind. It doesn't really apply. But yeah, I picked Cyril Gane to win that, even though I felt like an idiot for counting Francis Ngannou out. But I felt smart because Cyril Gane is an incredible fighter in his own right. I don't really know what to tell you. I do not know what to tell you, except it was a great night of fights. If I had Dana's pocketbook, right, and he typically gives out $200,000 in bonuses, right? He gives the fight of the night 2 performance bonuses. If I am limited to that, man, that's tough. Let's see. I probably give fight of the night. Well, I definitely give fight of the night to Brandon Moreno and Edisius and Figueiredo. The trilogy. I mean, I love trilogies. I love trilogies. And then I guess if I was giving out performance bonuses, or performance of the night bonuses, I would probably give it to Said Nurmagomedov and Michael Morales. Said Nurmagomedov, Michael Morales, Edisius and Figueiredo, Brandon Moreno taking home fight of the night honors, of course, because that fight was a classic. I don't know what any of this means. I don't know what's to come for the heavyweight division or Francis Ngannou. Cyril Gane was quoted in the Octagon saying something along the lines of, I've only just arrived in this MMA game, and it's true. He's only spent 3 years as a professional MMA fighter, so impressive journey nonetheless, even though he wasn't able to get it done. Man, a fight to remember, though, for sure. A real fight to remember, and I think it's a performance to remember for Francis Ngannou. I think this was a oh shit moment for people when they realize he's more than just stopping Stipe's takedowns in his title vanquishing or title claiming effort last time out. I think that this was even more of a show that, okay, I'm your champion, and now I'm going to show you that I can do it all. I'm going to be a dynamic mixed martial artist. I'm going to take this dude down because he's the most technical striker that the heavyweight division has ever seen. Sure, I can knock him out, but he could outpoint me, and if this is a kickboxing, on the feet dance, Cyril Gane would probably win. So the wisdom coming off of Francis Ngannou in his first title defense is of note. This has been Pound of Flesh. the post-show podcast on the Octagon Jones. Thank you very much.